Sometimes I would have to take so much ropeneol. I actually passed out a couple times.
Say hello to sleeping peacefully. Goodbye to nighttime misery. From restless legs, you'll be set free.
So, welcome to the Nerve of It. This is a program podcast where we like to explore cutting edge solutions for nerve related issues. And what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be talking about something that's really near and dear to my heart, and that has to do with restless legs. Restless legs is something that we don't want to take too lightly. It's something that has a very detrimental effect in your life, to your sleep and such. And a lot of you listening may not know that there's a solution. We really target nerves in the legs that we think are creating these symptoms. I'm a podiatrist. I'm a peripheral nerve surgeon, and it's something I've been doing for quite some time. But by targeting these nerve tunnel areas that are, we believe, becoming tight in your legs, we, for most people, can reverse these symptoms of restless legs. If you're new to restless legs, just know that it's a very terrible disorder that really, for a lot of people, creates a lot of suffering at night when the rest of us are sleeping. These folks are up wandering around, they're massaging their legs, they're getting out of bed and doing jumping jacks or stretches, whatever, to relieve their symptoms. They can't sit in cars. Sometimes they can't ride on planes for a long time because of the symptoms that they're suffering from. And I really have an affinity for these patients because I think they kind of get ignored. And but we're going to share with you some guests tonight. One of them is Johnny Wright and David Scatino, who are from back east. One's from Virginia, right, Dave? And
I'm from North Carolina.
North Carolina. I get that wrong every time. North Carolina, close. And then also from New York State is Johnny Wright. But they volunteered to do this tonight, to just share their stories of their experience here. And they both have personal stories that I want to start out. Maybe I'll start out with you, David. The first thing I want to talk about is just in your personal life before you came here and had surgery. Just kind of describe the symptoms that you were having, and then I'll go over to Johnny and the same thing. What was it like? How severe were they? And how long did you struggle? Just give us an overview.
Sure. Well, I'm 58 now. First started seeing symptoms probably in my 33, 34. It
Okay.
wasn't unexpected. It runs in my family on the males. My grandfather had it really bad. My dad
Uh,
has it, not as bad as myself. Did the sleep study. They said, "Congratulations, you have it." And they basically said the only thing we can do for you is give you Requip or Ropeneol.
right.
So at first it started moderate tingling, kind of slight need to move my legs. It wasn't that bad, but that's progressed over time to the point the last 10 years were real agony.
Right.
I was rolling around on the floor, kicking my feet against the floor. Sometimes I would have to take so much ropeneol. I actually passed out a couple times.
Oh,
I was walking around the neighborhood 3, 4 in the morning, probably looking like I was drunk when I wasn't. It had a significant impact on relationships, dating, the inability of being able to do very much after 7 p.m. So
right.
it was real. I'm not exaggerating. Most nights were agony, and I knew it was going to happen, and
Right.
there was nothing I can do.
And what about for you, Johnny? I'll let you answer the same question. It's just like, what, how did it start? A little bit of your history, Johnny.
For sure, for sure. I mean, I didn't know what it was for many years, and I did not know it was a diagnosable, I thought just everybody was like me. But I noticed symptoms, as a teenager. And I was one of those people who you mentioned on airplanes, and I would be so uncomfortable on airplanes. And I thought everybody was uncomfortable on airplanes. I didn't know
Oh,
that it was something that certain people were uncomfortable and certain were not. Um, but also, like in the evenings, I'd be sitting on the sofa with my significant other, and I couldn't have her like snuggle up to me because I need to like move.
Right.
And additionally, at nighttime, I found that I could, if I had my bed next to the wall, and then I would like stick my legs straight up the wall, while I'm suffering from the restless legs, and I definitely could not have someone sleep with me. Whether in a relationship or not, I sleep solo. Um, and yeah. So it's definitely, and then waking up in the middle of the night. It's just so depressing because you can't do anything about it, and
Right.
your head is, at least for in my case, my head was tired, my head wanted to go to sleep, but my body would not let me go to
Step
sleep.
movement.
Yeah, yeah. And so I'd be like sometimes I'd crouch in bed, to try to alleviate the symptoms, but that only lasted for so long. And then I'm like crouching and I can't really sleep, and my joints are like locking up. I would try leaning against the wall without a chair, and trying to
Wow.
have my muscles taut, until I was exhausted, and then try to go to bed. And it would only last, it would actually last for a very short time, and then I'd go to bed and wake up again, and again want to move my legs. For me, I didn't know it was a diagnosis till I had a sleep study, and the doctor said, "Oh, do you have restless legs?" And I'm like, "What's that?" And then they started me on roprinol, and for me, I was on roprinol for a while, and my symptoms, and it was actually nice when it first started on the roprinol, but then my symptoms started getting worse on the ropinirole, and then I'm like watching some videos by the Association of Sleep Medicine, the National Association of Sleep Medicine, and I learned about the augmentation that can happen with ropinirole. That after you've been taking it for a while, you just need to take more, and then you need to take more, and you need to take
Right.
more to get the same effect. And I was like freaking out. And I guess I'll stop there. But yeah, I was depressed. I was depressed and miserable.
Yeah, you sounded like you're very creative at night doing all kinds of gymnastics to get relief. So you lay up and you put your feet up on the wall, basically.
Yeah, so my feet are
Wow.
like vertical and I'm like laying down there.
Wow.
Yeah, and I try to fall asleep like that. Of course, it did not really work.
That's great. Well, so let's go on to a lot of people in life. It doesn't matter, what you're talking about. It could be, I don't know, maybe it's running a business, maybe it's a relationship. It's all kinds of things in life. Sometimes it gets to be a breaking point where you go, I got to change this. This is terrible. Like, and you probably had that with restless legs. Where is there something that triggered you to say, man, I've got to decide to go through with something else or research something else, or maybe you found out about this and it's like, bingo, this is what I really think I need to do. Can you, maybe we'll start with you, Johnny. What was there a moment of time or something that happened to you?
I would say it was the symptoms getting worse while I
Yeah.
was still on ropinirole. I mean, that was really and I felt them getting worse. And
Right.
then for me, I started really perusing a lot of YouTube videos about sleep,
Okay.
and then started again I started watching the videos from the Association of Sleep Medicine. I think that's the American Association of Sleep, something like that.
Right.
But it was like doctors talking to doctors,
Right.
and they're talking like roprinol is no longer the recommended medicine for restless legs, and I'm like, well, why am I on it then? And then they're talking about opioids. If they're really heavily, if you use them right, they can help. But of course, patients are uncomfortable with that. The doctors are uncomfortable with that. Everybody's uncomfortable with opioids right now.
Right.
So by the end, they would say, well, about the only thing we can do is give you gabapentin. So I started on gabapentin, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like nobody has a solution for this
Right.
except here, take some gabapentin and do your best, and then talk to a therapist, maybe do some light exercise before bed. And I'm like, this is not helping me.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so yeah, I mean, I was just like, yeah, something's got to go. If I'm
Okay.
listening to doctors talk to doctors and they're saying we have nothing to, we can't help you except to give you gabapentin. You're already on ropinirole. We can give you more of that, but that'll just make
All
it
right.
worse.
That's got to be a very sad feeling or depressed feeling, or like the doors are all closed, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And the depression. I mean, the depression that you just mentioned. It's just I was
Yeah.
really depressed. Every night.
Yeah.
Every night it's like I wasn't suicidal, but I was like this would be great if I could just end it all right now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I never got to that point where I
Right.
was suicidal, but it's like the depression is that level
You're
of
right.
misery.
Yeah. Okay. Dave, can you add in what 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 happened in your life that made you come here? Or how'd you find out about us, or how
Uh,
long did you have to go?
well, I mean, it was a pure act of desperation. I mean, I
Okay.
was, looking for other alternatives for years. I tried chiropractic, I tried acupuncture, I tried changing my gym routine, I tried changing what I was eating, changing what I was drinking. I even tried sleeping with the bar of soap between my legs, which is out there as a solution.
Sure.
Same.
And then I've always been researching, but various restless legs and medicine, restless leg treatments, restless leg this, restless leg that. And then one night it was 3 in the morning and I was dying. And I was again, and then one day I typed in restless legs and nerves, and up you came. I
Wow.
never found anything about a surgical option or other treatment in all those years of searching until I added and nerves.
The
And that
magical
drove
Google
me,
words.
yeah. And then
Yes.
that drove me to your videos. And I swear to God, I watched them all.
Wow.
And I reached out. Honestly, I don't know if I was not happy. I'll tell you that much. I don't
Right.
know if I was to the point of being depressed, but I was not a happy camper and
But
desperate.
is there one thing about what you learned from my knowledge sharing my knowledge that really kind of keyed in on you, like, oh, this totally makes sense? Was there
Yeah,
something you could share
there
with us?
was. For me, it was a I guess a podcast you did with I believe another physician, and you
All
you
right.
were making the connection, the physiology or physical connection between, let's say, what's happening with carpal tunnel,
Okay.
and it's really it's basically carpal tunnel below the knee.
Right.
And I spoke to a couple friends that were in the physical therapist, and like kind of seems to make sense to me. It's
Right.
rational, it's logical, and I'm a creature that's ration and logic driven, and I reached out. But honestly, at that point in time, I was so desperate for
Right.
another alternative.
Right. Okay. So next question I'm going to ask is just maybe go over for people, and we'll maybe start with you, Dave. Just what was the surgical experience like, the recovery like? Just kind of go over. Uh, you came here. That's a bit of a sacrifice to come to Colorado from North Carolina, and from Johnny, he comes from New York. And what was it like being here and then going home? Just tell us a little bit about that part of the
I mean,
experience.
it was a very, very pleasant experience. I had my buddy accompany me, so we had a good time. Fort Collins is a great place.
Right.
Your whole staff treated me incredibly well. I felt extremely cared for. I wasn't nervous. I just wanted to do it.
Right.
Um, the the recovery was really easy. And getting back to your point, if the other thing you drove home in that video was you're dealing with soft tissue. You're not
Right.
dealing with bones, you're not dealing with joints, you're not dealing with organs.
Right.
Um, so to me, it's like the words low risk really resonated.
I see. Right.
So
Less pain. You're doing stuff
exactly.
here.
I After the surgery, I didn't need any pain medicine.
Nice.
The worst part about it was wearing that boot for 24 hours.
Right. Good.
The day after my surgery, for the first time, probably in 10 years, I was able to go back to the apartment that I was staying in and take a 5 hour nap. I was
Wow.
not able in 10 years to lie down and take a nap without medicating myself.
Oh, that's a long nap. That's awesome. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. That's great.
So, other than that, it was easy.
Okay.
The only thing that I mentioned to you was I was too aggressive trying to get off the ropinirol,
I remember.
and do not do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're full speed.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Hey, Johnny, can you add anything? Anything you wanted to say about the experience here and what
Sure,
you go through?
sure. I'll say a couple things. One is that I'm even though I am, I do practice some alternative medicine techniques. I do study alternative medicine. It's really
Right.
nice that you offered a uh, nuts and bolts cure. You know what I mean? It's like I had been maximizing my iron levels. I'd been paying attention to my dopamine levels, all of that stuff that the conventional doctors talk about with restless legs. And I've been working really hard and diligently testing my levels all the time. But you offered like a nuts and bolts kind of solution where we'll do this, and this will be the result of it. And I
Right.
was like, that's what I need, that's what I like. And I also like to say that I think a lot of people look at money they might spend on their health and they say, wow, that's expensive. And I say, we live in our bodies 24 hours a day. And so any money that we spend on our health is so much more it's so much you enjoy the benefit of it 24 hours a day, whereas you spend
Right.
money on a house or a car, you don't enjoy it as much as your health, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
That's a
so
very
I
good
did.
point.
Yeah, and so there was some money and some inconvenience associated with coming to visit you, and I'm like, it is worth every penny. Like I would make this investment in a second, and I did not hesitate. I called the next day after I discovered that you existed, and got to talk with your staff. Back to the surgery. Like any doctor does, you had to tell us, some of the bad things before you did the surgery, some of the bad things that could happen. And absolutely none of those bad things happened. I mean, it was such a pleasant surgical procedure, and I have never ever used pleasant and surgery in the same sentence to
Right.
describe any other surgeries that I've had. But this was just relatively simple and easy. The recovery was fast and easy. Um, it was a delightful time meeting your staff. It was a delightful time meeting you. And as Dave mentioned, Fort Collins is a delightful town. And we only had to wear that boot for 24 hours, and I went sightseeing and had a grand old time. It was delightful. It
Right.
was a wonderful vacation.
I
You
like
know,
I like what you said about nuts and bolts because sometimes, and maybe you'll agree with it almost seems like it's too simple. Like, I would be skeptical by sitting where you are, like, this is too simple. This can't be because you're hearing all these complex things that might directly or indirectly impact the possibility of having restless legs. So that's a really like that comment. So now I wanted to go on to just after surgery, like life now after surgery, just maybe talk more detail about how it's affecting your sleep, how much better is your sleeping, how much more energy do you have, just anything you can think of that you might want to share with people listening.
do you want me to start?
Yeah, why don't you start, Johnny?
Okay, okay, cool. I had a fascinating experience. When the surgery is done with you, you do one leg, and then you wait for, was it 5 to 7 days to do the
Right.
second leg? And I had this fascinating experience. The one leg had been done, but not the other leg yet, because again, you separate those surgeries out. And I remember sleeping, and I had restless leg symptoms in the leg that had not been operated on, and no restless leg symptoms in the leg that had been operated on. And that
Right.
was like, amazing. I'm like sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, this is like working. Like it's amazing. Um, Beyond that, I wear an Aura ring, and I sleep in a sleep eight a bed. Yeah, I think it's called Sleep 8. I'm having a mind meld here. But anyway, both of those track your sleep. And
Right.
for the 3 months following the surgery, there was a slight drop right after the surgery because I was recovering and there's some pain involved in turning over at night and it would wake me up and stuff as I was recovering. But the both my ring and my sleep 8 bed showed gradual increases in my sleep quality
All right.
uh, for the 3 months right after the surgery. So it was a measurable improvement um, with
And you
these.
you
Um,
described that in a previous video we did. You actually had the graphs there, didn't you?
yeah,
And
yeah,
can you
yeah.
explain to people listening what the give us some more specifics about the ring? People might not
Um,
be aware.
Sure, sure. So the Aura Ring and the Sleep 8 bed, they give you a sleep score based on not only your sleep metrics, like how much deep sleep, how much REM, and how much light sleep you got, but how much sleep overall that you got, how much you might have been moving around at night. Of course, with restless legs, you're moving around a lot, right? And
Sure.
so these things and these give me a chart that I can see every morning, and it gives you like a weekly, then a monthly, then a yearly, and so over the longer time frame, you can just see the sleep quality went up after getting your procedure, and in a more just concrete way of saying it is I did not experience restless legs anymore, and I do not experience restless legs anymore. And that in itself, I'm just more cheerful because I do not experience it. I can snuggle with my significant other on the sofa now. I don't need to be pushing her away and getting up to move.
Right.
Um, it's just really wonderful to not have a restless legs.
Yeah. Because you're out over a year, I think, around a year. I think
Yes.
about a year ago you're here.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Very good. Okay. Dave, do you have anything you wanted to add to that from your?
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
uh I'm 6 months out,
Right.
and so I am in a much, much, much better place than I was, even with those taking 4 milligrams of ropinirole a night, or sometimes even more. Unfortunately, maybe I would sleep from 10 to 3, and then I'd be up, and then the symptoms for whatever reason go away around 6 in the morning. So where I'm at now, I'm still trying to get off the ropinirole. I'm taking substantially less, down to like 1.5, 2 milligrams a night.
Okay.
However, the severity is 90% better. The
Great.
the incidence, I still have it every day, every night, but instead of starting at 6 or 7, it'll start at like 10.
Okay.
And even with the 1.5 or 2 milligrams, I can get a good 7 and 8 hours of sleep.
Excellent.
So even though mine have not, and I believe you mentioned in my left leg, I had nerve damage.
Right.
Um, so I'm not where Johnny is, but
Right.
I'm still very, very happy about where
Excellent.
I am today. And I still have hope, because if I run my hand over the incision on the towards the left ankle, I still get a bunch of tingling. So I have a feeling the nerves are still regenerating.
Right.
And hopefully I can lower the ropinirole.
Yeah.
But if I can't, it's so
Yeah,
much more
getting off can be a
manageable.
very slow process
Yeah.
because there's the adverse effects of trying to get off. And then, well, a couple more things before we close out, though. Um, Well, I wanted to ask you, what would you say to someone who's suffering with restless legs about considering surgery? Is there anything, and also, is there anything we should have known earlier, I guess? If you're talking to somebody and you're talking to them about surgery, is there anything you would tell them to, I don't know, maybe encourage them or give them some hope?
Well, as you know, I just did this.
Right.
My good friend's 88-year-old mother just had
I,
surgery with you last week.
I know. Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time giving her whatever attention I could and answer all her
Yeah.
questions.
She's a sweet lady.
She
Yeah.
really tough, strong lady.
Oh, I
And
know.
she's doing really well, by the way. She just left me a voicemail message.
Right.
I just say have an open mind.
Right.
Um, my cynical side says there's a reason why it's hard to find you. And that
Right.
probably has something to do with the drug industry.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
keep an open mind. There are
Okay.
this is a viable option for you to consider. It's up to you to determine if it's right
Sure.
or wrong for you,
True. Yep.
but there are other
And
choices.
she was great to meet. I think if we follow our ancestries back to Germany, I'm part German, and I think our ancestors probably grew up about 2 hours apart. So we
Oh,
figured it
wow.
out talking to her. So the whole family, I swear the whole family came with her. It's really amazing. So anything you want to add, Johnny?
I'd like to add that you have a good book that people can read that is
Oh, thanks.
helpful.
Yeah.
I'd like to add that
Okay.
something I wish I'd known is I wish I'd known about you 20 years ago.
So here's the book, A Perfect Night's Sleep.
And
Okay.
I think the things that really were important to me was the first that the roprinol, your body just gets used to it, and so you just need more over time. So the
Right.
roprinol is really just not a viable option. I mean, I took it for a long time and my symptoms just started getting worse. Gabapentin, I took that, a lot of gabapentin. It's like the quality of life on gabapentin. I don't know if your listeners have taken it before. It just kind of makes you a little bit woozy at night,
Yeah.
and it's not really a great medicine choice either. I mean,
Right.
I
There's
mean,
no.
whereas yeah,
Yeah.
I did maximize my iron levels, ferritin levels, etc., dopamine levels. But
Yeah.
when there's a lever that can be turned or button that can be pushed, like that nut and bolt result. I mean, it's like so worth it. I mean, it's just so worth it. I mean,
Right. And
you know, it's like
I
have your
was going to
pendulum
add,
on the fence. Just do
recently
it.
there's a study that just came out of gabapentin and dementia, so they think there's a connection with gabapentin and dementia. So that's just came off the press. That's interesting.
Right,
So
right.
we
And I
don't
think
always
the other
understand the
thing,
effects of these drugs long term, but
yeah, but
uh,
the one more thing I wanted to say is that
sure,
is that you have statistics about the number of people that you've helped and
sure,
the percentage of their improvement, which to me, if you're a statistics person,
right,
like you're
exactly.
the solution. You're the solution if
Well,
somebody really
thank
looks
you.
at the statistics.
Yeah, we do. For those of you that are new to this, we do have a study, one study, maybe a second one to be published here at some point. But that's published. You can find it on our website at Anderson Podiatry Center. So I think the final thing before we close out is just um, is any key insights from anything else you want to add? Anything that I might not have asked you, you wish I'd ask, or that you wanted to comment on before we close?
Uh,
Anything, Johnny,
no,
that you can think of,
no.
or it feels like we've gone through quite a bit tonight?
I mean, like you mentioned about, that you've talked to other doctors, and that you have actually like people who have learned from you, right? This
Right.
technique, which I just think that's important for your listeners
Okay.
to know that because it's not only gives you the credibility because you're helping other doctors learn this technique, but it also shows that it's helping, that other
Right.
doctors are doing it as well.
Gotcha.
It's not like you're a one-off. Like this is like a real solution.
Real solution. Okay, that's great. Anything you have, Dave?
No, I think you covered it really well. I think
Okay.
Johnny had great feedback also.
Okay. I was going to say before we close, well, we got a little surprise there from one of the participants here, Johnny. But uh, I'll mention a couple of things. But before I close, Johnny's got a little surprise for us. I think now's a good time to do the surprise, Johnny. If you want to.
All right, so I'm in the music business as a profession, and so I wrote a four-line song for Dr. Anderson, and here it is. Say hello to sleeping peacefully. Goodbye to nighttime misery. From restless legs, you'll be set free at Anderson's Podiatry.
Well, that's great. Great sound effects.
For me, you're only going to get referrals.
Well, that's your musical debut. That was great. So, if you're listening to this for the first time, understand, those of you listening, I mean, please research this. Like Dave said, it's not for everybody. You know, you need to research it, see if it's for yourself. Make sure that you really understand this. That's really important to me. That's why I wrote a book about it. And I mentioned it earlier. You can always find that on Amazon. It's called A Perfect Night's Sleep. And you just go to our website, Anderson Podiatry Center, or go to YouTube. We got tons and tons of videos on YouTube, testimonials, and other videos of me explaining how this could maybe work for you or maybe a loved one. So I think with that, I'm going to really thank you guys for putting this together. And we have a team here recording me tonight. So, and hopefully this might put me down a trajectory of doing more podcasts in the future. And we may be calling it the nerve of it, because we think that's a catchy phrase for the title of our podcast. If we start this in the future, it'd be great to keep continuing educating people about the frontiers that we're breaking open when it comes to nerve disorders. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'm going to say goodnight to both of you. And take care. Great talking to you again, Dave, and also Johnny. We love your song.
Thanks for the surgery. It's great.
Okay. Thanks for your time to do this podcast with me. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.